y'all, Locktar here, coming at you with another review. This is going to be episode 24. Now, right now, it's Independence Day. That's why I'm wearing a nice little patriotic t-shirt for those of you who can't see it. American flag shirt, of course, you know, it's Independence Day, and I am a patriotic, gun-owning, red-blooded American. And that's all there is to it. I'm also a Texan. I was born in Fort Hood. We celebrate Independence Day kind of hard down here in Texas because we take our freedoms very seriously. Now, I couldn't think of a more patriotic way for me to do this than number one, to be sampling some bourbons, because bourbon is required by law to be a product of the United States or its territories, meaning you can make bourbon in Puerto Rico or in Washington, D.C. It's part of the law. It's the United States or its territories. So bourbon is a uniquely American product, but it's also going to be something super special because this episode is going to be titled Blinded by Eagle King. And for those of you who don't know, Wade from Bourbon Hall is, in fact, the Eagle King. And he sent me 7 samples because I can't count. He sent me 7 samples of different things. And I don't know if you all can tell, but these are massive sample bottles, okay? Now, I'm not going to drink all of these in one episode because that would be a 3-4 hour episode. I get slower as I drink. I'm going to pick 2 of these, okay? Now, I'm going to go in order rather than random selection just because that's what I want to do. And this is my show. So here we go. I'm going to go with samples 1 and 2. I'm going to push the rest of these to the back. They will be done in another episode so that I get more content out of what he sent me. I have no idea what he sent me. The answers for number 1 and number 2 are in these envelopes. Not been opened yet. I have no idea what is in here, but he sent me things that he said he thought I should try. Now, I am honored by that, the fact that he put that much thought into it. We did trade samples. I sent him some samples of some Texas stuff and then a couple of bottles that he purchased. That was an amazing thing for him to send me back as much as he did. 7 samples, large samples of things that he knows I haven't tried. I'm very excited to explore what these different bourbons or whiskeys are. All right, folks, so here's how we're going to grade these. This is my scoring criteria. Is it a bourbon, a rye, or a malt? Proof, I'm going to give myself a plus or minus 5 on the proof. That way, you know, I have some leeway. Is it finished? Yes or no? And I'm going to try and guess what type of finish it is. And then number 4, I'm going to try and guess the distillery. Now, these are things that I haven't tried before, maybe even from distilleries that I haven't tried. So I have no idea how this is going to go. But we're going to have some fun with this, which is kind of the point. So here we go. Pour number 1 is going to go into my Tulip Glen. So apparently everybody uses electrical tape, and I had no idea because none of my samples, I've never used electrical tape on them. Now, sample number 1, that's dark. I like the way this one looks. Y'all know me, I'm a proof hound, and I love darker liquors. So let's see how this goes. Oh, wow. It is beating very finely, and there are no legs. I have never seen a bourbon do that. Bourbon, rye, malt, anything. I've never seen it without legs. And for those who don't know, the legs are the little tendrils that come off of the line when you swirl it in a glen. Sometimes you'll see these ridges that appear, and we call those legs. It's just drips of oil that are coming down. The larger the legs, the more oil content. That's the thought behind that whole scenario. And on this one, there's no legs. It's just this bead of oil where I stopped the line, and then like a solid coating of oil all inside. Like no legs running whatsoever. It's just a solid coat of oil, which has me excited. Now, for the nose. Ooh, smells good. I'll say that. Hmm, that's an interesting smell. It doesn't smell bad. Ah, got a gnat. It doesn't smell bad. It smells good. But I can't tell what that smell is. Now, this is my first drink of the day. This is an honest reaction. I can smell some proof, and with the way that it's beading, the finer the beads are on that top line, usually the higher the proof. That's the way that it's been for me so far in my tastings and in my blinds. Um, I have no idea what he sent me. A little bit of caramel, definitely some vanilla on the nose. And I don't know if that's proof or if it's like cinnamon, baking spice, clove, even nutmeg, something along those lines. We'll see how the nose changes once I taste it. So, cheers to the Eagle King. Cheers to all red blooded Americans out there. Happy Independence Day. Love you all very much. And I love this country. We'll take it back in November. FJB. Let's go, Brandon. Smells good. I can't wait to try this. Okay. That's got a little bit of proof on it. It's not a heavy hitter. Not a heavy hitter as far as proof. And it could be a spice transformation also because mid palate, like this started out tasting like honey to me. Like full on flavor of honey, the mouthfeel of honey, even very sweet, like a light vanilla and caramel on the tongue. And then after I swallowed, it was like it just lit up every taste receptor in my mouth. It completely enveloped my mouth in this slow burn that just kind of crept towards the back of my throat. And then it started on that Texas two step, that Kentucky hug, as it went down. Enjoyable experience, don't get me wrong, but that spice transformation mid palate was unexpected. Now going back to the nose, this kind of smells like fresh baked bread. That's what that is. Like like a rye bread. So I wouldn't be surprised if this ended up being a high rye bourbon or a rye in and of itself. Matter of fact, I'm going to make that call on sample number 1. We're going to call it a rye because that's the way this hit me initially. And I'm smelling a lot of that rye spice. Though what I thought was proof. Now this does have some proof to it, but it's not as heavy a hitter as I thought it was going to be. Yeah, that's definitely rye spice. Yeah, that's a rye transformation on the palate. Not so much a proof kick in the back of the throat. It really is an experience to drink, which is enjoyable. This is the kind of pour after a long day, something to enjoy, not necessarily a slow sipper like what, Rebecca Creek Double Barrel Spanish Oak is, or any of the 120 and above proof drinkers, right? Those are slow sipping whiskeys because they'll take your breath away. This is more of that rye transformation on the palate. This has that honey note up front with a light caramel and vanilla, and then it transforms into this wave of cinnamon and other baking spices like clove. There's a lot of that heavy spice sense mid palate on this. And it's not bad. Okay. When I hear spice, or when I used to hear spice, I should say, because I'm becoming more of a rye fan every day. Like, when you see that on a tasting note, sometimes you think, well, I wouldn't like that. I don't like spicy things. But spice in a bourbon is not like jalapeno spice. It's not like that kind of spicy. It's not picante. It's that eating raw spices kind of spice. And it's enjoyable. It really is, because you go from sweet to that spice, and then the finish. That's the only thing I haven't pegged yet. I don't know what that taste is on the finish. There is something else there. Hang on. Mm. It's that rye bread. That's really the way it finishes. It's almost like this yeasty kind of fresh baked bread taste. That's what I get on the finish. So up front, honey, caramel, vanilla transforms into this amazing transformation throughout the mouth. Every single sip has done that. It just, after I swallow, because you've seen me swishing it in my mouth, I shake my head, I swish it in my mouth, I move it around with my tongue, I aerate the whiskey. And then after I swallow, it's like following the swallow. It's crazy how that transformation just starts to light up as the oil and as the whiskey begins to drain. It lights up every taste receptor that I have, and it is amazing. Then that finish of like that fresh baked bread, like you just had a warm slice of bread that you made, sliced it in half, butter. That's the other sensation. That's what that is. It's like a buttered rye bread, like a fresh baked piece of bread, nice and hot. That sensation is fantastic. I can't wait to see what this one is. That was my last sip of this one. I got to make my guesses now, which is unfortunate. I know I have more back there, and I really am tempted to pour myself more of that one. Wait, I enjoyed that pour. I don't know what it is yet, but I'm about to find out. Okay, so I need to make my other guesses. On the proof, I'm going to say mm, it's not a lot of burn. I'm going with 100 proof. Okay. I'm going to be conservative on this one because it didn't light up my throat so much as it did the rest of my mouth. So that can lean anywhere from 95 up to 105. I don't think it's finished. So I'm going to put NF for not finished. And distillery guess. I have no clue. I've not tried a rye like this one. And I'm racking my brain right now trying to think of things I've seen on Wade's back shelf, trying to guess as to what rye he would have sent me for this particular pour. And I'm going to laugh really hard when I open that envelope in a minute and it's not a rye or something like that and I get this completely wrong, but that's okay. That was an extremely enjoyable pour. Um, I have no idea. I really have no idea what rye that could be. Oh, what distillery did you send me, sir? It's dark, it's beautiful, it has a great spice transformation, a very pleasant mouthfeel, and initial taste, because that spice transformation happens after you swallow. Initially, it's very sweet, very pleasant on the tongue. Who makes a rye that's that good? Who have I heard of making a rye that tastes and transforms like that? Okay, you know what? Just for the sake of time, I wrote down Sagamore. So y'all see, I have it as a rye, 100 proof, not finished, and Sagamore. Now I know Sagamore does a lot of finished ryes, but that's the only company I could think of that I haven't tried that makes specifically Right. Now, because this is my show and I can do it how I want to, I'm opening envelope number one. Let's see what that is. Was it hot? Was the question. Yes, Wade, it was hot. The spice transformation mid palate was very enjoyable, though. I wouldn't so much call it spicy like jalapenos so much as that spice transformation. I was way off. Way off, y'all. Okay, so this was Woodford Reserve Batch Proof 121.2. Now, Woodford Reserve Batch Proof, as far as I'm aware, is not a rye whiskey. It may have a high rye content, but that is definitely better than the regular Woodford Reserve. First bottle of bourbon that I bought when I started doing this for medical reasons was actually Woodford Reserve. And I still have that bottle sitting here behind me because I haven't finished it. Immediately, I started making old fashions out of this because I did not enjoy this at all. This was only 90.4 proof. It was a lot spicier than anything that I had tried previously. Again, this was the first bourbon when I started getting into bourbons that I tried. I had remembered people talking about Woodford Reserve, and so that's why I went with this one initially before I did any research or really started discovering the different flavor profiles that are available to bourbon. I thought they were all the same at that time. I did not enjoy this at all. I enjoyed that one. That batch proof is something else, but man, does it drink below its proof. That spice transformation that it gives on the mid palate, everything. Like, I got that one completely wrong, and I'm glad I did. It's proof I do this stuff live. Mokhtar has a good palate, but it's not perfect. I'm learning, folks. I'm learning. All right, so we are moving on to sample number two, and I hope I don't embarrass myself even more. But even if I do, it's okay. All right, sample number two going into the Maverick Glencairn. I always smell them first just to make sure that it just smells like an empty glass, just air. There's nothing lingering, because otherwise I would need to clean it some more. Now this one is not quite as dark. This is sample number two. Not quite as dark as the first one. Ooh, smells good though. That immediately reminds me of the Old Forester profile. That's got a lot of cherry on the nose. Wow, that smells really good. So that dark red fruit, that cherry is very upfront on this one. Ooh, this one has me excited. Okay, oil, a lot of separated legs. It's a solid line. It doesn't really bead up as far as that top line, but a lot of legs, a lot of good droplets coming off of that line. And they're very well separated. There's a good eighth of an inch, quarter inch between each of the legs as that oil lingers on that line and then begins to drain down. Oh, wow. This one. Whew. A lot of cherry up front. I'm calling it cherry right off the bat because that's what it reminds me of. This smells to me like I know I always go back to the bomb burgers, but that's what this smells like to me. It smells like bomb burgers, which is a Michter's product, by the way. This smells like the bomb burgers. It smells almost like Old Forester 1920. That heavy cherry profile. You know, this could also be Widow Jane. From what I hear, Widow Jane has a lot of cherry on the nose. For it being so light, wow. I am surprised it smells as deep as this one does because there's the cherry up front and it really does remind me of like a dusty kind of peanutty, graham crackery crust. on a cherry pie. And that could just be the grains. It could be corn sweetness that I'm getting instead of graham cracker. It could be like a honey graham cracker. Oh, wow. It smells amazing. So, you know what? I'm going to give it a try. Cheers. Wade, thank you again for sending me all of these. Interesting. Not in a bad way. Okay, don't take my reaction that way. I wasn't expecting a spice transformation the way that this one just did. Oh, wow. I gotta go back. That was a lot. Whew, that is hot up front. Spice, like a lot of spice, even while it's sitting on the tongue. Unlike the first pour, where it was very sweet up front. Even as it's sitting on my tongue, I start to get that spice transformation that makes you kind of want to just swallow it. Um, I don't want it to linger too long because it's even right now, my mouth feels like I ate a cinnamon Altoid. It is that level of cinnamon spiciness. Um, However, that initial mouthfeel of honey, a light cherry note that kind of carries throughout. There's a little bit of sweet oak that happens as it's going. The nose is changing for me. Just based on that first taste, I'm smelling a lot more cinnamon as what I was interpreting as proof. I can smell a lot more cinnamon on this one. Now that I have tasted it, wow. Up front, caramel, vanilla, the typical bourbon stuff. Light cherry runs throughout. Right after it hits your tongue and you get that initial sweetness of like that honey mouth feel with the caramel and the vanilla, it starts to transform even before you swallow. Like this spicy level of, okay, get this off my tongue. But trying to savor that flavor and experience more than the cinnamon that's on the mid palate. Um, it really does carry that cherry throughout and it finishes. You get that cinnamon, there's some sweet oak that goes throughout the mid palate also with that light note of cherry, and then it finishes like, what is that? Kind of like a graham cracker, nutty, not quite pecan, it's more peanut. It's a very pleasant ending to this whole spice transformation. That sweet up front spice transformation begins. It lingers for a while. My mouth is still hot. Um, but that finish, that is that is amazing. And honestly, this is what I enjoy about blinds. I can get it completely wrong. I'm still having a good time. This is fantastic. Getting to try new things and try to figure out what pieces are there and the whole flavor profile and what did he send me, that whole thing. Oh, I need to make my guesses before I touch that envelope. Oh, wow. Okay. Um, man, that spice transformation, that was something else. All right, so sample number 2, I'm going to guess that that's a bourbon. Oh, with that heavy spice transformation, though. Should I guess rye again? You know what? I'm going with my gut. Okay, I'm going to go with rye. I'm trying to overthink this, and I don't need to. I'm going with rye. Proof on this, that hit me as kind of a high proof. It was a hot drink. Um, I was way off on the first one, but that one drank smoother than what this one did, which is weird because this is my second pour, so I'm more numb, but it still hit me pretty hard. So I'm going to guess 120 proof. I'm going to say it's finished. Specifically sherry finished because of that heavy cherry note. As far as distillery, I have no clue. I don't know what the heck that could be. I don't know. But I do know why Wade, I've been drinking, leave me alone. Wade loves wild turkey products. And he knows I haven't found a wild turkey product that I enjoyed yet. So I'm going to guess that this is a wild turkey product. So guesses for number 2 for full transparency. Number 2, I'm guessing it's a rye. I crossed out bourbon, 120 proof that it is finished in sherry and that it is a wild turkey product. And we are about to find out how I did on sample number 2. Don't be surprised if I get this completely wrong. Number 2 says, hope you said you liked it, which I definitely did. This was a good one. I should have gone with my gut. Oh, I should have gone with my gut. Y'all, this was Old Forester President's Choice 12-year, 55.3% alcohol by volume, which means it's 110 proof, which my guess at 120 is way off. I don't know if the President's Choice is a rye or not. I'm going to throw those stats up here on the screen for you all. And it is definitely not a Wild Turkey product. It's Old Forester. So, y'all, I did horrible on these. I really did. I did not guess these correctly at all. However, I had a great time. These 2 pours were absolutely amazing. Thank you so much, Wade, for sending me that. I know that that President's Choice is not an inexpensive bottle. You sent me a significant amount of it, so I am going to enjoy this for a good amount of time. I even said initially when I smelled it that it reminded me of the Old Forester profile. Why didn't I go with my gut on that? I should have just guessed Old Forester and left it alone. But hindsight is 2020. Folks, hope you enjoyed this. Leave me a like, leave me a comment below. There will be more Blinded by Eagle King episodes to come, but I figured it was only appropriate that for Independence Day, being that the eagle is the bird of America, and Wade is the Eagle King because of how many times I spammed Eagle and Drizzo and RJ the Fed spammed Eagle on all of his posts for months and all of the races he had to run, he has become the Eagle King. Well, the Eagle King has blinded me and literally blinded me because I had no good guesses on this one at all. Hope you all enjoyed watching. Y'all have a great day. God bless, and God bless America.